In today's video, we're going to talk about how Stoicism can transform your life with 6 simple exercises that you can start practicing right away. These exercises are daily practices that, when incorporated into your routine, have the potential to change the way you handle challenges, frustrations, and even your personal growth. Stoic philosophy teaches us that, to live well, we need to develop our virtues and keep our minds focused on what truly matters. So, if you're looking for a more balanced life, full of purpose and meaning, stick with me until the end of this video. Stoicism offers us practical and effective tools to deal with the highs and lows of life. It teaches us to act according to our virtues, to handle problems better, and to develop a resilient mindset. This doesn't mean you'll never feel frustrated or sad again, but it does mean you'll be able to face those feelings in a healthier way without letting them control your actions. The beauty of Stoicism lies precisely in this, preparing us to be better, not just when things are going well, but especially when we face difficulties. And before we start, if you're new here, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. This helps spread the message to more people who, like you, want to strengthen their character and live with more purpose. Now let's get into the first exercise. 1. Reinterpret small frustrations. Every day, without exception, we encounter small annoyances, delays, long lines, unanswered messages. These things may seem harmless at first, but when they pile up, they can turn our day into something stressful and even demotivating. These small frustrations, which may seem insignificant at first, have an immense power to drain our inner peace. And that's where Stoicism comes in. The Stoics teach us to reevaluate these small daily irritations. Think of them as mosquito bites. A single mosquito might just be a nuisance, but a swarm of them can drive you to the edge. Similarly, if we don't learn how to deal with these small frustrations, they can accumulate and create unnecessary emotional weight. That's why the first Stoic exercise is precisely to reinterpret these small frustrations. The next time you're stuck in traffic or waiting for a reply that never comes, try to remember that, from a broader perspective, these are tiny issues. As Seneca said, sometimes even living is an act of courage. The philosopher invites us to see everyday obstacles in a different light. Yes, they are real, but we can assign them the weight we choose. When we manage to see these challenges with a new perspective, we free ourselves from the burden of letting small things steal our peace. Historically, people lived without the conveniences we have today. The simple fact that you can send a message and expect an almost immediate reply is a luxury that past generations didn't have. If someone took a week to respond, that was considered normal. Imagine living without these comforts and how that would shape us. So, the exercise here isn't about denying your reactions, but managing them in a healthy way. This helps us cultivate patience and handle frustrations without letting them take over our mood. A useful practice you can start adopting is to take a conscious pause during moments of frustration. Take a deep breath. Acknowledge the annoyance, but ask yourself, does this really matter in the grand scheme of my life? This simple reflection can lighten the load of the moment and bring a more peaceful perspective. 2. Choose a virtue to practice. The Stoics believed in 4 main virtues: courage, temperance, justice, and wisdom. These virtues form the foundation of a well-lived life. Each one teaches us how to deal with different aspects of our existence, and the idea here is for you to choose one virtue to focus on each week. For example, if you choose courage, focus on practicing it for the next 7 days in all your actions. Practicing courage, for instance, can start with small acts, like getting up earlier to exercise or facing a difficult conversation at work. Small acts of courage, when practiced consistently, strengthen this virtue within us. Each week you can choose a new virtue to practice. In the week of justice, for example, Focus on being more just in your actions, both at work and in your personal life. What's interesting about this practice is that it puts us in an active role. Instead of just reacting to life's challenges, you take the position of someone who acts with purpose. This helps us develop a stronger and more balanced character. Over time, you'll notice that these virtues begin to manifest naturally in your actions. Courage isn't just about facing major challenges, but also in the small things of everyday life. It takes courage to be honest with yourself, to admit mistakes, to change unhealthy habits. And it's this daily practice that leads us to genuine growth. If you start focusing on one virtue at a time, you'll see how, little by little, your life aligns with these values, and you become a more centered and balanced person. The third exercise is one of the most important in Stoicism, the daily review. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus always recommended that his students set aside time at the end of each day to reflect on their actions. The idea is simple, but extremely powerful. Before going to bed, take a moment to think about what you did right and wrong that day. What could you have done differently? What actions brought you closer or further from your virtues? This practice was adopted by various thinkers throughout history, including Saint Ignatius of Loyola, who created a method of self-examination in the 15th century. When we reflect on our actions, we have the opportunity to correct our mistakes and, even more importantly, to learn from them. It's an exercise in humility and self-awareness. This daily review doesn't need to take long. Just set aside 5 or 10 minutes before going to bed. The key is consistency. By doing this every day, you'll start to identify patterns in your behavior and gain more clarity about what needs improvement. Plus, this moment of reflection helps us to be more present in our actions, making us more aware of our choices and behaviors. An important point here is not to be too hard on yourself for your mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes, but what sets a Stoic person apart is the ability to learn from them and move on. When you make a mistake, use it as an opportunity for growth. As Seneca said, "To err is human, but to persist in error is foolish." The secret is to acknowledge the mistake and then find ways to avoid repeating it in the future. 4. Recognize your internal resources. One of the great teachings of Stoicism is the idea that, in the face of any adversity, we have within us the necessary resources to overcome it. Epictetus often spoke about the importance of recognizing our internal abilities. When we face difficulties, we have the opportunity to develop patience, resilience, and self-control. This exercise consists of remembering that, even in the most complicated situations, you have the tools within you to deal with them. If you're facing a conflict at work, for example, use it as an opportunity to develop your conflict resolution skills and patience. If you're dealing with temptation, like the urge to spend unnecessary money, practice self-control. Recognizing our internal resources doesn't mean denying that life has difficulties, but rather understanding that every difficulty is an opportunity for growth. The more you practice using these internal tools, the more resilient and stronger you become. 5. Take control of your own life. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic masters, taught that if we don't consciously choose what enters our minds, someone or something else will choose for us. This is one of the most valuable lessons in Stoicism because, in practice, if we don't take control of our lives, we end up living according to other people's desires and expectations. And let's be honest, those desires and expectations often don't reflect what's best for us. You can think of your life as a boat. If you're not the captain of that boat, someone else will be. And that person may not care where you really want to go. When you take control of your life, every decision you make starts to reflect your true values and priorities. This is one of the most profound and transformative exercises in Stoicism. Living according to what you believe is important instead of being swept along by the current of others' desires. But how exactly do we take this control? It all starts with self-awareness. Ask yourself, what really matters to me? What are my core values? When you can clearly define your priorities, it becomes easier to align your actions with them. A good exercise is to make a list of the things you value in life and the goals that really matter. Then ask yourself, are my daily actions aligned with these values and goals? Often, we spend energy on things that don't really matter to us. We become obsessed with others' opinions, spend hours aimlessly on social media, or dedicate ourselves to projects that don't bring us true satisfaction. Stoicism teaches us to cut through these distractions and focus on what truly matters. And remember, living according to your values requires discipline and constant effort. To help with this process, adopt the mindset of I want and I can. For example, if you want to improve your physical health, you could say, I want to lose weight and I can start by eating smaller portions at meals. Or if you want to grow in your career, you might think, I want a promotion at work and I can dedicate more time to current projects and improve my skills. This proactive approach puts you in control of your own life. Many people go through life without ever realizing they're living according to others' expectations. They seek external approval, try to please everyone, but end up feeling unfulfilled. Stoicism teaches us to break this cycle and live an authentic life. And as Marcus Aurelius said, stop arguing about what it means to be a good man and be one. 6. Reflect on what really matters. The final exercise is perhaps the simplest, yet one of the most powerful. Asking yourself every day if your actions are aligned with what truly matters. Imagine if, at the end of each day, you reviewed your activities and asked yourself, would I have done this if today were the last day of my life? This simple exercise can completely transform the way you live. It forces us to confront the fact that our life has an end, and that we must, therefore, live each day with purpose and meaning. This doesn't mean you should live with haste or anxiety, but that you should value your daily choices and ensure they're aligned with your deepest values. Often, we spend our time on activities that don't add value to our lives. It could be hours scrolling through social media, unnecessary arguments, or worries about things beyond our control. Stoicism teaches us to cut through these distractions and focus on what truly matters. This reflection exercise isn't just about productivity, but also about finding joy and fulfillment in the small things. Perhaps if you knew today was your last day, you'd spend more time with loved ones, take better care of yourself, or dedicate time to a hobby you've been postponing. The goal is to bring this mindset into your daily life and live with more presence and intention. The Stoics had a practice called memento mori, which means remember that you will die. It's not a phrase meant to generate fear or anxiety, but rather an invitation to live with more awareness. When we understand that our time here is limited, we begin to value each moment more, and this helps us live a more authentic life, focused on what truly matters. By adopting this practice, you'll start to notice that many of the things occupying your mind and time are irrelevant. You'll gain clarity to make better decisions and focus on activities that truly have meaning for you. And by doing so, you'll also experience a sense of freedom, as you'll no longer be tied to external pressures or others' expectations. Now that you know these 6 Stoic exercises, the challenge is to start putting them into practice. Stoicism is a practical philosophy, not just a theoretical one. Each of these exercises was designed to help you live more consciously, balanced and focused on what truly matters. Remember, Stoicism isn't about denying your emotions or living a life without pleasures. On the contrary, it teaches us to live fully, making the most of what life has to offer, without letting external circumstances control us. By practicing these exercises daily, you'll be strengthening your character, developing virtues, and becoming a more resilient person. And now I want to hear from you. Which of these exercises will you start practicing today? Leave a comment below and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos on Stoicism and personal development.